Welcome back to Royals Weekly. I am your host, Marcus Mead, and joining me as always, a man who just needs a little more time for his rap career to take off, my brother Mike.
Hey, I'm the thriller. I'm the killer. I'm straight up vanilla. If I was a refrigerator, they would call me Big Chilla. Oh.
But what about Mom's spaghetti?
Yeah.
You haven't told me anything about your
I
mother's
forgot
spaghetti.
to throw in something about Mom's spaghetti. Damn it.
See, you don't know how this whole rapping thing goes yet. I don't think. You still only got a few more years, but it's gonna happen for you.
A little bit more
It's
polish.
gonna break.
A little bit more
It's
polish.
gonna break. You'll break. On this week's episode, we're going to look back at a week of action against the Brewers and Orioles for the Kansas City Royals. We're going to take a look at what Mike and I would like to see more of and what we'd like to see less of from a team that looks a little bit inconsistent, but is still managing to break roughly 500. And then we're going to preview this week's full slate of games against the Twins and Guardians. So it's an exciting time. We do need to remind you to subscribe to that Royals Weekly Substack. We just put out an episode on Thursday. Mike just put out his new Mike's Dropped episode. I listened to that. It was wonderful. Mike's going to remember to put it out on Friday morning instead of Thursday nights from now on. He's new. He's new at this, folks. So give him a minute. But yes, you're not getting 2 extra episodes every single week. You're getting at least one piece of written content and sometimes more. Who predicted this whole Maikel Garcia pulling the ball thing? I did in an article I wrote for the Substack like a week and a half ago. So make sure you're subscribed to that Substack. You get a lot of extra content, and it's really great to be part of that conversation. Also, make sure you're out there rating us and reviewing us. I asked for some ratings and some reviewings last year. I went to check right before we started recording the episode, and I had a frowny face because I didn't see any new reviews. So if you want me to not cry myself to sleep every night, go out and give us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. That will help us out tremendously, and it will save me money in tissues because I will cry over this.
He's a crier, ladies and gentlemen.
I am. I love it. I love to let my emotions just lay out there. We will start our review with roster news because we actually have at least one tiny bit of roster news this week. I mean, it's real small, but the Royals did trade cash to the Baltimore Orioles for MLB veteran Nick Gordon, who plays the outfield mostly these days, some second base in the past. He was a minor leaguer. He was on a minor league deal with the Orioles, so he'll head to AAA Omaha. But there are people talking about what his role may or may not be with this organization and maybe with the major league team. He's 29 years old, so he's not exactly. It's not like they went out and traded for a prospect. And so we'll see what he ends up being. Mike, what are your thoughts on this whole adding Nick Gordon thing?
Well, I think it does mean a little bit of something. You know, he had a really strong year. I want to say in 2022 maybe or 2023. He had some injury issues. He had a little bit of ineffectiveness and then got himself kind of, outrighted from Miami and then picked up by the Orioles and whatnot. But he provides some athleticism. He provides some offensive ability. And honestly, if I were MJ Melendez or Hunter Renfroe, I'd be looking at this like, hey, might be time to update the old LinkedIn profile. Maybe look at the real estate market somewhere other than Kansas City, because if he's producing down there, that just gives you another option to bring into Kansas City who at least can move. He can run. He can play some outfield. He can get on base. Those guys aren't doing any of those things. And so I don't know if you caught Hunter Renfroe playing the outfield today. But it made me want to dump. All right.
In fact, it wasn't just me. Riggs turned to me when she saw that play against the wall that he didn't make, and she's like, "Woof, that guy, huh?" And she knows nothing about baseball, so but she can tell. So that's a thing.
Yeah, that cost Bubic. He could have gone 7. That would have been 7 innings for Bubic with no runs, and he just And so and MJ's doing absolutely nothing at the plate. I think he's got 2 hits all year so far. So nothing looks different there. I think it's kind of some padding if you feel like you got to jettison one of those 2 guys.
Yeah. This move is fine. I think it's just, it's one of those things that some people thought, maybe this is just to cover for the loss of Tyler Tolbert when Darryl Mlaco's on the injured list. So the AAA might need another. First off, that can't be the case. AAA is swimming in outfielders. They don't need any help in the outfield, really. And why would you have to bring in Nick Gordon? I just don't know that that's going to do anything. And if you did bring somebody in, why Nick Gordon? Why not bring in random AAA guy if you're just looking to fill time for a couple of weeks? Because remember, Darryl Blanco's not going to be out the whole season. He'll be back eventually. Yeah, he'll be fine, right? So I don't think that theory doesn't really hold water with me. I wouldn't be shocked if the Royals added him as maybe we think we can get some value out of his profile. Maybe we can get him hitting again, that sort of thing, and get some help for our outfield. That wouldn't surprise me. Do I think he's ready for it right now? Not that I know of, but you're right. It adds another option. And if I'm Hunter Renfroe and MJ Melendez, I'm looking at the addition of Nick Gordon. I'm looking at the fact that Gavin Cross and Jack Caglione have helped the Naturals score like 35 runs in their first 3 games. I mean, they've been destroying the baseball down in Northwest Arkansas. I'm looking at those guys and I'm thinking, what? I better get on this. I better start hitting or do something, because there are guys now who are right behind them, I think, and maybe looking to take a job before too long. On the field last week, the Royals went 3-3, which brings their overall record to 4-5. That's pretty decent. It's almost 500. Mike, what did you see from the fellas last week that had you thinking?
Well, I saw a bad series against the Brewers, one that I was not happy with. And then it looked like maybe there was a small step forward in a much better series against the Orioles. Still not as consistent as we would like. That second game, they could not figure out the junk baller from the junk ball 35-year-old rookie from Japan.
That guy is savvy. I like that guy a lot for some reason.
Yeah, he's going to come in. He's going to throw a 4 ERA and make every start that he has and all that.
They're probably going to make a sequel to For Love of the Game that's that guy's life story. Like I think that's it's very romantic.
I mean, he's like, I don't want to say he's the Roger Clemens of Japanese baseball, but he's had huge success in Japanese baseball.
Yeah, he has. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But then he comes over to America at like 35. They wouldn't let him over here until he's 35 years old, despite all this success. And now he's like, well, I can only throw 90 now, but that's all right. I'm going to carve up these lineups.
Yeah. Well, that's what he did. And that was not great to see. But it was a good series, I feel like, overall. Like they went out and beat a good team. Like they won a series against a good team. The offense looked a little bit better today. Chris Bubich, oh my gosh, was fantastic today. And yeah, I think you're starting to see what this team can be if the starters can go a little deeper, if the offense can round out a little bit. Bobby Salvi had a really good day today too, hitting the ball. Even the time he got out, I think he hit it pretty hard. So good to see that stuff. I was pretty happy what I saw from the Orioles series and disappointed in the Brewers series.
Yeah, it's an inconsistent week for a team that I don't think has really found its stride or even necessarily found its favorite lineups, found who wants to play where the most. I don't think it even knows that yet. So it's going to be inconsistent there for a while. But we got to see in that Orioles series what it looks like when the heart of the lineup is hitting. And we got to see that combined with the notion that like Maikel Garcia can give you some more production from your 8-hole or maybe your 7-hole or something like that. Great. Now, if the heart of your lineup is hitting and the bottom of your lineup has somebody dangerous in it, that at least lengthens it a little bit. And I think we saw in this Orioles series what that can look like. They went out and really pounded them on Friday, and then couldn't do anything offensively Saturday. But they came out today, and I thought they might score more runs than they did on Friday. They were up. They had 4 runs in like 2 innings. It was like they were hot to start that game.
And they continued to hit the ball. They just couldn't get guys across.
Right. They ended up with like 14 hits in that game or something like that. Only 4 runs. But so it was good to see. I think this week was a little bit of a step forward in terms of from the beginning week, because they're clearly not all rounded out yet. They're clearly not set on what lineups they want. They're clearly not set on comfortability everywhere defensively and all that sort of thing. But it does look like a step in the right direction. Mike, who was your strong performer from last week? Quite a few guys had some decent weeks.
I had to go with Chris Bubich, man. The guy was unreal good in 2 starts. Really, really, really good today. He went 12 and 2/3 innings pitched this week. He had 8 hits, or gave up 8 hits, 1 earned run. Like I said, that earned run probably shouldn't have happened. He had just 3 walks to 16 strikeouts. Chris Bubich is a strikeout pitcher, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a little interesting because I think what he's done with the combination of the slider and the sweeper, I think what he's done is he's created a situation where he can go to the changeup less, which actually makes it more effective. It used to be that you could kind of just sit on it and foul it off because you knew he had to go to it to put you away. Well, now the improvement of the fastball and the improvement of the sweeper and the slider, I love the fact that he's got basically the same pitch in the sweeper and the slider, that one just goes a little harder. And it's like, but it confuses the shit out of guys, and it's great. Mm-hmm. And then the fastball up has been very good for him. And so I love that he can use his changeup a little bit less, but then optimize. Did you see how many whiffs he had today?
Oh, a ton.
16. Yeah. He had 16 swing and misses, mostly on the changeup, which he's using less. And it's becoming more effective for him. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you got a guy out there throwing 91 to 93, getting like 10 whiffs a game on his fastball. Like, that's how good that fastball is in terms of its pitch characteristics. Excellent, excellent 2 outings from Bubic. Can't say enough about it. I was thinking about the sweeper slider earlier today, and the improved effectiveness of those pitches just gives you a situation where, take a look. Bubic in his first start doesn't throw the changeup very much. Throws a lot of sweepers and sliders, tons of strikeouts, lots of swing and miss. His second outing, he threw more changeups, fewer sweepers and sliders, same result. And it's like what it's giving him is the option to choose between those two and make it a lot harder to develop a book on Chris Bubic. As you mentioned previously, a lot of guys just fouled those changeups up because they knew it was coming. They were not scared of any sort of in-breaking pitch if they were a right-hander or out-breaking pitch if they were a left-hander. And so they just sat changeup, fouled him off, or if he made a mistake with him, put him in play hard. Now he's got so much more variety in that arsenal. It's just creating a whole new ball game for him. My strong performer for this week, I think, might have been on our week performance week last week, or list last week. I'm going with old Bobby Witt Jr. Got to give it to the MVP candidate. Got to give it to the face of the franchise. He was 8 for 24 this week, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run, 2 walks versus 3 strikeouts, which we've always talked about, Mike. If those numbers are similar, he probably had a good week, whereas I think a week ago or last week, they were high strikeout, low walk. He did have a very good week this week. Put the ball in play hard a lot. Got some good results from it. A lot of extra base hits. Was really a catalyst. And with his glove, he played excellent in this Orioles series at the very least. He had a run-saving diving play in the first today. Yeah. He's done a bunch all over the field this week. And he's showing, at least to my mind, some restraint on the base paths, which I think sometimes we're looking for from him. Not in terms of taking extra bases, but I'm just thinking he's trying to steal bases. And so he needs to learn at times it's time to pedal back if you're not going to be the most effective base dealer in the world.
Yeah, and I think there's still some room for improvement, I guess, is the scary thing from Bobby Witt Jr. I think that we're going to talk a little bit later about some things that he can work on still. But, yeah, guy's unbelievable. He got a little bit of help today from a misplay by Mateo in the first inning, I believe, in center field. But he'll make you pay for it if you do any of those things. He'll make you pay if you have a slight bobble in the infield. And that's one reason why he's always going to be getting on base with those infield hits, because the speed is there and he hits the ball hard enough that guys have a hard time making clean plays a lot of times. And so, yeah, love to see that. I'm going to give a honorable mention here to Salvador Perez, who didn't have a great week but had a great game today and was named the Roberto Clemente Man of the Year. So big shout out to Sal for winning that award. It's just another thing to add to his fantastic career, but couldn't have picked a better guy to be a legend in your organization.
Yeah, just I don't know if they've the Roberto Clemente Award was made for dudes like Salvador Perez.
Yes, they were. Yes,
they were the odds of him never winning one were going to be super terrible because he was always going to win one. So great for him. Love what he does in the community. That's wonderful, and he's starting to get hot at the plate too, which is nice. Mike, who is your week performer for this week?
Hunter Renfroe. You are the bane of my existence. And I put it out there on Threads. Like, if anybody says anything to me or the broadcast says anything about him being a strong right fielder ever again, I'm losing it. All right. I will lose it. That guy is so bad in the outfield. It just can't be. It's terrible. He was also bad at the plate. He's also bad at the plate, by the way. 3 for 18, no extra base hits, 2 walks to 6 strikeouts. I think he grounded into a double play today where they had a scoring opportunity.
A bad one.
He's just not very good at baseball anymore. We're paying $6.5 million for
$7.5, I think.
$6.5 or $7.5 million for below average Major League Baseball play.
Not even below average, below replacement.
Below. It's not good. And so, I don't see like that changing in any way there, unless something goes wild. I know you had kind of predicted a mini breakout or bounce back for him. That looks just ridiculous at this point so far. You dumb idiot. And Hunter Renfroe, you can't get no production from your entire outfield. Like, Isbell's not producing a ton offensively. We're getting nothing. Talk about the next guy, Mark.
Yeah, okay. Just a beautiful segue from that into MJ Melendez, who is my week performer for this week. Other corner outfielder. Look right across the diamond there. You're going to see MJ Melendez. Their stats are actually shockingly similar from the week. So Renfroe was 3 for 18, no extra base hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. MJ was 2 for 14, no extra base hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So, they're doing basically the same stuff, which is nothing at the plate anyway. I will give credit to MJ a little bit. He has been a much improved defender this year and is grading out much better by Baseball Savant's fielding metrics this year. So he has actually picked up his work in the outfield. But at the plate, man, it is just rough up there for him right now. And frankly, Kevin Biggio, Mark Canha, they're both playing better. It would not surprise me if we start seeing more of them, less of MJ and Hunter. It's nothing I love to see. I want nothing but success for every Royals player, but they've given him so much opportunity. It looks really bad at the plate right now. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because it's not even that he's like striking out or like he's walking a little bit, not striking out so much that it would be a huge problem if he were making a lot of contact. Or if he was like putting balls in play hard and stuff, but the quality of his contact right now, you know what his infield fly ball rate is, Mike? 33%. A third. That's a third of the balls he puts in play are infield fly balls.
I know one of those hits that he has was like a throw the barrel at it, ass out, blooper to right.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah, it was. It was. Which is not encouraging. You don't want those to be his hits. It just looks uncomfortable. It looks unconfident. It looks not great. And so, yeah, he's going to need something. I don't know what. If anybody could have fixed him by now, it wouldn't have been me. So, Mike, what is your theme for the Royals this week?
Well, I went with this theme before I knew what you were doing for, you're just a bit outside, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
Okay? We'll do it the whole episode. I don't care. Yeah. We'll do the whole episode on him.
A little bit of a tribute here to Val Kilmer, one of our favorites in his life. He has made just so many classic films. We lost him this week to pneumonia, technically, but he's battled cancer for a very long time. This is from a movie that not a lot of people really know about anymore, talk as much about anymore, but it's Real Genius. But they should. It's called Real Genius. It's a comedy from the 1980s. He is fantastic in it. And in this one, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, playing the role of Laszlo Hollifeld, if you don't mind.
I would be honored.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Well, how'd you do?
How'd I do? I passed, but I failed. Yeah.
Well, then I'm happy and sad for you.
Great film. Just a great film. So many classic comedy lines from this film that I wanted to talk about it. And it fit real well with this week because I was happy about how the Royals did in the Orioles series. I was sad about the Brewers series. And I was kind of looking for something. I was like, oh, that fits perfect. That's right where we are. Both it felt like we passed and we failed this week. And I wanted something to remember Val Kilmer by. He's so fantastic that I think this is a great one. If you haven't seen Real Genius, ladies and gentlemen, get on it. Okay, great soundtrack, great movie. He is fantastic in it.
Everyone in that movie is fantastic.
Even Laszlo Hollifeld. I can't remember the guy's name.
Oh, you'll recognize him. He's in a bunch of stuff.
He's been in a bunch of things. He's Uncle Rico in
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
In what's that movie called?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, Napoleon Dynamite. He's been in a ton of stuff. So just a great movie. And we miss you, Val Kilmer.
I too, not surprisingly, am also going with a line from Val Kilmer, though it is a very obscure one from a cameo he made in a not very good TV show. I was going to think, I'm a humongous Val Kilmer fan. I was thinking of his lines from Tombstone, from, Real Genius, from you name it, Heat,
Bang, Bang.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, so many different movies of his. But I decided to go with something that I hear in my brain all the time. Like I hear this line and his little monologue from this moment all the time. And it's from the show Entourage from HBO. He plays a Sherpa who is really a weed dealer. Okay.
They call him the Sherpa. I don't know if he's
they call him the Sherpa. I don't know if he's actually a Sherpa. But he acts like you would imagine a dude who's a Sherpa and a weed dealer exactly would act. Okay. And so he's getting stoned at one point with all the gang and a whole bunch of women who just hang out, apparently. And he takes this huge bong rip, an enormous one. And he just goes, "The earth is moving. Turtle, you're a dove." So if you don't know, there's a character named Turtle. And I have no connection to baseball with this. This is not actually a theme for me. I just wanted to get that line into the show. So go, if you can look it up on YouTube, this scene with Val Kilmer and Entourage, you'll be laughing for quite a while. Royals Weekly is brought to you by Eric Oxer of West USA Realty. Do you have the same fantasy that we do, retiring to a land of eternal summer? If so, you need to call Eric Oxer of West USA Realty pronto. He can help you transition into a lovely home in the Phoenix area and a life of fun in the sun.
The sun isn't just for exploding and destroying galaxies, people. It's also for golfing.
It's also for golfing. Eric was one of the top real estate agents in the Phoenix area to end 2024 because he gives all of his clients a personal experience focused entirely on their needs. With Eric Oxer of West USA Realty, it's not about him, it's about you. He's there to listen to you, work for you, and guide you through the ins and outs of buying and selling in the Phoenix area.
Buying houses can be tricky. Trust me, I was scammed into buying 3 different houses that turned out to be trees painted to look like houses, like Bugs Bunny style.
It was one of those. He got Bugs Bunny situation. He got Bugs Bunnied. Find Eric Oxer of West USA Realty online at ericoxer.com. That's ERICKAUXIER.com. Or just give him a call or shoot him a text at 480-383-9745. That's 480-383-9745. If you're at all interested in what a life in the Phoenix area might hold, let him make the experience all about you. The Royals are doing their best to trudge through the difficult stretch in their schedule that opens the season here, but they're not necessarily firing on all cylinders. The offense is inconsistent, the starting pitching hasn't hit its stride yet, and the bullpen keeps giving up runs in tight games. They're doing okay, but certainly they haven't inspired a ton of confidence with their play. It feels like they need more of something or maybe less of something. So I've come up with this little format for discussing the team called Gimme Gimme, where Mike and I will express what we want more or less of from the Royals as a team with the phrases give me more or give me less. Mike, let's start with the positive. What do you want to see more of from the Royals?
You know what I've noticed? We come up with these little games. We never play them again.
We never I've noticed that too.
Once.
You know what that would require me to do? Go back to stuff I've already done, which I'm not doing.
Okay, gotcha. So give me more. Let's talk about what we're going to give me more of first. My first give me more. Give me more Maikel Garcia being selective at the plate. I love it. Okay. He is intentionally choosing to swing at balls that are in the middle third or inner third when early in counts. And as a result, he's increased his pull percentage by 5%. He's hitting the ball relatively hard. His average exit velocity has gone up. And he's getting results, and that's fantastic to see. And I hope that he can continue doing it. If he can be that productive guy at the bottom of your lineup, he definitely turns into a valuable piece. You and I talked about with the defense that he can play and the base running that he can provide you. Average major league offense from him is going to be okay. It's going to be pretty good. And so I really like what I've seen from Maikel Garcia. I really hope that he continues to be that selective. Yeah, it's okay to swing at pitches on the outer third. If you have 2 strikes and you want to punch one through the right side, I am completely okay with that. But if all you have to do is go back and watch a couple of his at-bats in game 2 there against Baltimore, Sagana, I was trying to think of his name, is only throwing him outer third, and he just will not swing at it early in that bat. He finally is able to, I don't even know if he got a hit in that game or not, but it was good to see him really have a plan when he went up there and execute that plan, and I've loved the results so far.
Yeah, if he keeps it up, it's going to ultimately change his career tremendously. I mean, no longer is it Maikel Garcia. You're a bench player. We're gonna use you like a utility knife or like a Swiss Army knife. It's more going to be Maikel Garcia. You're in the lineup every day. Maybe you'll play a couple different positions, but eventually we're going to find one spot for you to just hang out and hit because you can actually hit now, which is great. Mike, give me more. Give me more Tyler Tolbert on the bases, please. I just have a ton of fun watching this guy run the bases. And so today he came in, pinch ran, stole a base. I think he's now 2 for 2 in Major League Baseball stealing bases. Stole 2 today. Okay, I missed one.
Second and third.
So I think he might have also stolen one yesterday or the day before that. And so he's got maybe 3 stolen bases. He's only been up in the league for like 3 games. Great job by him.
4 or 5. He's got a lot already. He stole second and third in the first game he got in. And then he did it again today. So I think he's at least got 4.
Okay. So it's great to see that he's going to be an extremely effective and efficient base stealer. That's a lot of value. We know that we've seen the value Dairon Blanco has doing that. And it's going to be important for the Royals because the Royals have played a lot of really close games this year. They've lost 2 in extra innings already. And so if they're going to be in these close games, which they probably are, they're going to need those little tiny edges. And he can do it on the base paths, of course, but he also made an excellent catch in center field yesterday that really sort of robbed somebody of a ball in the gap. And so, it's doing those sorts of things, little tiny edges of value. He's doing his job. He's doing the thing he's supposed to do and doing it well. That's, even though it's not like hitting, which we traditionally think of as so important for position players, he is adding value in very strategic and important ways. Mike, what's one thing you'd like to see less of? The number one thing you'd like to see less of?
I'd like to see less of Sam Long in close games right now, because I just wonder if there isn't something going on with Sam Long. The fastball velocity is down a tick this year so far. He's greatly reduced the use of his curveball, which was his third best pitch last year, but it was an important pitch for him last year, but he doesn't throw it anymore. I mean, it's basically fastball slider so far this year, and the fastball has gotten worse. And the slider is getting destroyed. And I don't know if that's because, he's not throwing the other pitches that he has as much. I don't know what it is, but he's leaning way too much on those two pitches, and he's getting hammered in those close games. I want to see him get some time in some non-high leverage situations when games aren't close. Some of that mop-up stuff that Chris Stratton has been getting. And I think he'll have opportunities to do that, because now we're getting to the point where the starters are going to start stretching out a little more. Bubic went more than 6 today because he was extremely pitch efficient, part of that. Waka went more than 5 yesterday. I think you're going to see that start to happen a little bit more and a little bit more. And then there's going to be some opportunities for Sam Long to go in there and see if he can't figure some stuff out. See if he can, maybe it's just a confidence thing. Maybe he's like, you know what, I kind of lost some confidence in the curveball. I don't know what it is. But it was his third best pitch last year. I would think he would continue to throw it. But it doesn't look like that's something he's been doing. And so I really would like to see him get back to where he was, because I think he could be an important part here.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I think there are some people calling for Long to just not be in the bullpen anymore. I don't know if that makes sense at this early stage, but some time in the low leverage, and mostly he's low leverage anyway. But they've been forced to come bring him into close games because starters leaving in the 4th, 5th inning, and stuff like that. So a little less high leverage for him might be nice. Mike, what is my gimme less here is related to base running, just like the Tyler Tolbert decision was in some ways. I just want less outs on the bases. Gimme less outs on the bases, right? Today, Maikel Garcia gets picked off at second. That's 1 out on the bases. Freddie Fermin gets thrown out at second, trying to turn a single into a double. And it's like you just gifted them 2 outs, right? Like in a game that'll...
What was the big one the other day where they got into a rundown?
Oh, yeah. That happened.
Third. Was that the Brewers series?
That was in the first series. I think that was against Cleveland. You're talking Isbell? Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was in the first series, I think. But this is a pattern. If we're just the 2 guys today, I'd be like, oh, no big deal. This is a pattern that we're addressing here. And, in a game like today's where you get 4 runs early, but you're having trouble getting runs across later, giving away outs is just one of the things that's going to prevent you even more from scoring runs. They ended up getting back into that game a little bit later, right? Where they scored a run off Bubic. Now they're only down 3. 3 is nothing for a Major League Baseball team. 1 3-run home run, you're tied. The game is tied. Like, you need those 1 out. You need those outs, those precious little outs, those guys still on second base, so that you can sacrifice them to third, get a sac fly in. Like, scratching those 1 and 2 runs here and there is hugely important when it comes to those 3-run games, 2-run games, 1-run games, and there are going to be a lot of those. So I want to see more proficiency on the bases. I want to see less ridiculous mistakes. Freddie Fermin was out by a mile. It was not even close at second base, right? Maikel Garcia got picked off at second. It wasn't some great move either. He just got picked off. And so they need to sort of tighten it up on the base paths, I think. All right, back to the positive, Mike. What do you want to see more of?
Well, I'm not sure this is entirely a positive, but we're going to spin it like a positive. I want to see more Mark Canha in left and Biggio in right. Okay, I want to see those 2 play in the corner outfield, and we've discussed kind of why, because the other guys can't. Canha's been good. He's been offensively productive, a 417 average, a 533 on base. Yes, it's a very small sample, but that's way more than anybody else has given you in a corner outfield, outside of Jonathan India in the limited times he's played left. Because Canada's going to give you competent plate appearances, and that is what is needed for consistency. The starting pitching, I think, is going to be good again. Look at what Bubic has done. I think Waka is going to be solid. I think Lugo can be solid, and Reagans can be a top of the league kind of guy. You need consistency from your offense, and though Mark Canha is going to be very limited in what he can give you off as far as power production goes, he's going to give you a competent plate appearances. He's going to get you hits, and he's going to get on base. And if Maikel Garcia is still hitting at the bottom of the lineup, and Canha's hitting in front of him, maybe you're scoring runs because of that. And so, and then Biggio, although he hasn't been as offensively productive, he can at least move. His range isn't 5 steps in every direction and then he's done. Like, give me a guy who is a little bit more athletic. I think his offensive potential is probably better than either of those other guys too. So I would, be working to get Biggio and Canha in there as much as I could.
Yeah, that was a major theme of the Substack post from earlier today as well. Canha, Biggio. Canha goes out and has another good game again today. So good for him. Give me more Harvey, Ursig, and Estevez. Forget HDH. I'm talking HEE for this. We're just going to call it the he bullpen. He. Yes, it's been wonderful to watch those three entered the game today to secure the win for the Royals. It's one of those things where it's like, you feel so good about that three, maybe a little less good about Sam Long or Chris Stratton or something like that. But the back end of this bullpen, people were very optimistic about it coming into the year, and it has fully delivered. We got exactly what we needed in it's Hunter Harvey, right? I keep wanting to call him Matt Harvey for some reason. Hunter Harvey, Lucas Ursig, Carlos Estevez. Was he
developing a cocaine problem?
Yeah. I don't know.
Addiction is a very serious thing. Sorry, Matt Harvey.
Yes, it is. It is a serious disease. We're sorry. We hope you get better, Matt Harvey. No, Hunter Harvey's been great. Lucas Ursig's been great. Estevez, despite the fact coming back from a little bit of an injury at the start of spring training, you'll remember, he has looked amazing, just shutting people down. It's the type of bullpen that last year, if you just put yourself in last year's mind, you would have killed for most of the year, as we sort of watched the bullpen consistently break down with the guys who were meant to be our start or our closers and our setup guys. No, they just crumbled over and over again. Will Smith, name the others. They were all there. Nick
Carlos
Anderson,
Hernandez,
Nick Carlos, so many of them. Mike, that's enough positivity. We're really about the dark side. Give me something you want less of.
We're just more experienced at it, I guess.
I guess.
I need less of chasing pitches outside the zone from our offensive producers. And most specifically, I'm talking about Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez. We know that Salvador Perez chases baseballs out of the zone. But did you know right now his chase rate is 52%? 52%. Wow. Yeah, it's insane.
That's prodigious. That's got to be a record of some sort.
Do you know what league average is?
Oh, it's got to be like 20.
It's 28. 28% is the league average. He's doing 52. He's almost doubled up league average. Okay. And Bobby Witt Jr. is at 41%. Really high on the chase rate for him as well. So those guys could calm that down just a little bit more. And I think we're starting to see that. I think today's game, especially, both of them looked much stronger. Now, Salvi did strike out on a really bad chase against Dominguez late in the game today. But that was when Tolbert stole third, and all they needed was a sac fly to get him in, and Salvi struck out on a ball way outside.
And he was mad at himself for that. Yeah. Although I think that wasn't that the third out of the inning. I think that might have been the third out of the inning.
I'm pretty sure that was just out number 2.
All right,
because Tolbert had stolen and it was 3-2, 1 out. He was at third. I'm pretty sure.
Don't trust either of our memories. Go look it up for yourself because our brains are Swiss cheese at this point. But yeah, the chasing's gotta slow down
and that's great to hear because Bobby was still very productive. Salvi was very productive today. There's room for improvement. There's room to cool down that chase rate and be even more offensively productive. And I'm excited for when they can kind of do that and get locked in on the pitches they should not be swinging at.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mike, I'm going to give you my last one. Give me less of Waka wasting pitches. Waka has been pretty pitch inefficient in his first 2 starts, almost strike zone avoidant at times. It looks, it looks like maybe he's unsure if the stuff will go. I think he got a little bit better as the game went along in his last start because he gave up 2 early runs, I think, but then ended up being a little bit more consistent. And then he left 2 runners on for Sam Long, and then Sam Long let him in. but he ended up 4 runs, I think, in 6 innings or something like that. And it's like part of that is you're not, staying as dominant in the strike zone as he was last year. They need him to be the type of guy who's going to go deep into games so they don't have to rely on a Sam Long to bridge so much to the bullpen and things like that. And so if Waka can find a way to continue to get more chase out of his changeup, he used his fastball up some last game, which I thought was good. He might have to take a slightly different approach, but he's got to be able to stop wasting so many pitches.
They actually mentioned that on the broadcast, that he wasn't getting as much chase as he got last year. And I think there's going to be a slight adjustment to that. You have to be able to adjust and say, okay, if I'm not getting that chase outside the zone, I'm going to have to be a little more fine within the zone. I don't know that he has the stuff to live in the zone like that anymore, but he's definitely got the craftiness, the ability to stay in the zone and induce weak contact when he's not getting guys to chase his stuff.
Royals Weekly is brought to you by All In Physical Therapy, who are happy to announce that they will soon offer strength and conditioning programs for youth athletes. I just saw the 2 flyers they posted about it. Lots of excitement and opportunity around that. Starting in June, they'll offer strength and conditioning for athletes who want to gain an edge on the football field, basketball court, or baseball field.
I could use an edge. I'm currently edgeless, and it's rough, and that's mostly because I've been working on taking off the edge. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, his wife actually refers to him as edgeless frequently. There's no edge. This is it's like I married a sack of white bread, of course. And of course, All In Physical Therapy still offers the best in recovery from total joint surgeries and sports injuries with offices in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, and Belton. They'll help you take care of your recently replaced hips, knees, shoulders, elbows, you name it.
This ad has a real head, shoulders, knees, and toes vibe going on.
I stole most of it from that song. If you're interested in reaching the peak of your athletic performance or getting back to 100% after an injury, check out All In Physical Therapy at allin-pt.com. That's allin-pt.com. Or give them a call at 816-427-5300. That's 816-427-5300. The Royals end their homestand this week with a 4-gamer against division rival Minnesota Twins before hitting the road for a 3-game set in Cleveland against the Guardians. That's right, we get a full slate of games this week. Every night baseball. It's awesome. I'm so excited. I might wee a little. I might pee a little. Mike, tell us about the boys from the Twin Cities. How good are they?
The Twin Cities. First off, they're 3-6, 4th in the AL Central, but the AL Central hasn't been a booming right now.
No.
The Tigers are leading it with a 5-4 record, and we're in second at 4-5. So it was good to see, and it's good to see that once Cleveland beat us in that opening series, they've only won 1 game since then. So that's always good to see. Oh, by the way, the White Sox, how many games have they won, Mark?
2.
2 games. Chris Getz really got them going. A fiery, gritty bunch. 2 gritty ass wins, though. I tell you that.
That's gritty.
That first Twins game, it's going to be Michael Lorenzen versus Simeon Woods Richardson, a guy we've seen a little bit in his very short career. 24-year-old righty out of Kempner High School in Sugar Land, Texas. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Here's why people should listen to this podcast. Not only do you get amazing baseball analysis, you also get the theatrical stylings of Michael and Marcus Mead. Come on.
Can't beat that.
Come on.
4.17 ERA for Woods Richardson, 1.29 whip and 28 starts last season. He's got a low 90s four-seam fastball, a slider, a changeup, and a curve. 1 game started so far. He gave up 2 earned runs in 4 innings against the White Stockings. So got to grade that one on a curve, I guess. In that second game, these next 2 games, by the way, are heavyweight slugfests. It is Cole Reagans versus Pablo Lopez in game 2, a 29-year-old righty out of Venezuela, 2.25 ERA and a 1.08 whip.
That should say whip.
Yeah,
sorry,
you can't spell. He's got a mid-90s fastball, a changeup, a sweeper, a sinker, and a curveball. He is their ace. He is the leader of their staff, and he is very good. He had a good outing against the Cardinals and the White Sox so far. That's going to be a pitcher's duel, as Cole Reagans is also extremely good. Second one could be too. Seth Lugo versus Joe Ryan, a 28-year-old out of Cal State Stanislaus. Love it. Never heard of it. Except every time we do a Joe Ryan preview, I'm always like, Stanislaus, where the hell is that?
Only time I've ever heard that college mentioned. And I work in higher education. I've never met anyone from there. That's never happened.
Yeah, we're sure it exists. Are we? Who knows? 4.5 ERA for Joe Ryan and a 1.00 whip. He's got that low to mid 90s four-seamer, a sweeper, a splitter, a sinker, and a slurve. He's got an extremely effective and envious fastball. When you talk about the guys in the game who have the best fastballs in the game, you mentioned Joe Ryan along with guys like Paul Skeens and Spencer Strider, Spencer Strider, because of the shape of the fastball. What is it, IVB?
Yes.
He's got induced vertical break of induced vertical break, and he throws that fastball about 2/3 of the time. The other pitches are unremarkable, but they complement and set up that fastball that he wants to use at the top of the zone. It's fun to watch Joe Ryan pitch because he's got that kind of whippy arm for a shorter guy. And I've always liked Joe Ryan. I really have. I think he's a good pitcher. The third game's also going to be, or the last game, the fourth game. Yeah, the fourth game is going to be interesting too because it's Michael Walker versus Bailey Ober, another guy we've seen quite a bit. He's a 29-year-old righty out of the College of Charleston. He's got a 12.15 ERA and a 2.4 whip this year because he got destroyed in a start against the Cardinals. Did much better in his second start against the Astros. His fastball's in the low 90s, but it plays up. Slider, changeup, sweeper, curveball, and sinker. And the fastball plays up because Bailey Ober is 9 feet tall. He is a giant of a human being. Did you see the picture of him and Altuve?
Yeah, I did.
Standing at first.
Looked like Santa with an elf, man. It was like
so Bailey Ober is 6'9". Jose Altuve is 5'7", and they got a picture of him at first base in that last game. And they're 5'6", 5'7". He's a tiny little guy. But Ober's extension when he throws is elite. It's 100th percentile. So it takes that 90, 91 mile an hour fastball and plays up to like 95, 96 because the ball leaves his hand a lot closer to the plate. And so this is an exciting series. This is an exciting week because it's two big time division game series. And I'm really excited for that Twins series. Plus I have the week off. So I'm just going to be watching baseball the whole time.
Yeah, and that's a home series. So if you want to get out to a game, I mean, I don't know that you could come a better regular season matchup than Royals Twins, and they got their ace and we got our ace going to the same game and stuff like that. That's a great series to go to if the weather's going to be nice enough. After that, they hit the road for Believe Land, as my partner calls it. She calls Cleveland Believe Land because she doesn't live far from it. I don't know. The Cleveland Guardians, they're 3-5, third in the AL Central. Offense is slightly above league average with a 104 weighted runs created plus. That's 14th in Major League Baseball. They're getting a good season from rookie Kyle Manzardo. Remember, he did a number on the Royals in the opening series. He's got a 145 weighted runs created plus. Jose Ramirez is just crushing it as always. 260 weighted runs created plus. And then Stephen Kwan is having a really good year so far with a 165 weighted runs created plus. Their pitching, not nearly as good as their hitting, which is an odd thing to say about the Guardians. That's usually not the case. Usually their pitching is better and their hitting is bad. This year, it's been a little bit of the reverse. They have a 5.16 ERA among their pitching staff. That's 28th in Major League Baseball. Most of that ERA is from their starting rotation, which is bad. They have exactly one starter with an ERA under 6, and that's Gavin Williams at 4.50. One of them has an ERA over 12. And so it's only been a couple starts for all of them, but all of them have been pretty much roughed up at some point this season.
And we'll see how the Royals do in that starting rotation too. So
right, that doesn't help.
Been good.
We'll end this week's episode like we end every episode with the Just a Bit Outside segment where we talk about something that's interesting to us outside the world of baseball. Mike, you have lots of interesting stuff going on all the time, even if you don't realize it. What's the interesting thing that happened to you this last week?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily this last week, but it's been a stretch since basically the beginning of the year when I've been working on changing habits. Believe it or not, for a man of my size, I might be slightly heavier than I should be. I might have some habits that aren't the healthiest in the world when it comes to food consumption and other things.
Many other things.
Yeah, you know that we both, you included in this, have a problem with eating fast food.
Yeah.
And I have since I was in my 20s, since college. And, you know, as I have high cholesterol and, you know, as you get older, we're almost 40 years old now. I try and break those habits. I've never had any success breaking them, but I finally have. Like I kind of finally figured out the trick for me changing habits, and it's slow and steady. That's what I never kind of realized. I always wanted to change it really fast. So what I have to do and I'm saying this just in case it helps anybody else maybe break a bad habit that they have, I have to start with something very small and then hold that one thing for a very long time. Okay. So my one thing was this: I was going to stop eating breakfast at McDonald's, because I used to eat breakfast at McDonald's almost every single day. Especially days that I worked, like, because there's a McDonald's close to my work and I just drive right through, go to work and eat my breakfast. Well, it's terrible for me. And I know it's terrible for me. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to change this one thing. I'm not going to eat breakfast at McDonald's anymore. Okay. And I was able to stop doing that. It took me like 2 months before I felt like I was comfortable that I wasn't going to continue doing that. And then I started cutting out fast food in other parts of my life, at dinner. And then, okay, now I'm only going to, and now I'm pretty much completely off of fast food. And it's been 3+ months. And it took that long for me to really feel comfortable in the fact that I don't crave fast food anymore. I don't necessarily need it. It's not the first place my brain goes when it's time to eat. And now I'm like starting to build other small habits on those things as well. And so that's how it worked for me. I'm not going to say it's going to work that way for everybody, but slow, small habits, changing them slow and changing them a little bit at a time has been a really effective way for me to change some of my really bad eating habits. Now we're cooking at home almost every single day. I mean, we'll still get actually even the pizza we used to order. We've even stopped eating out pizza. Now we're making it at home. And yeah, it's been a lot better. Even the food that we're making at home is getting a little bit healthier all the time. And so I've been really happy with how that has worked out, the slow and steady habit changing versus trying to change something large and kind of hold on to it, because it never worked for me.
I think all the research related to changing habits also supports the notion of the way you've been doing it. I think most of it
I'm not
says
reading
that
research.
it's got to be
That's
slow
not
and
gonna
steady
happen.
and that sort of thing.
I have to fail 8,000 times before I figure out how to do it. That's just
that's
my
okay.
method.
That's great. That's great. I need to take some of that and change some of my habits as well, I'm sure. And so, yeah, great. Change habits, peoples. I'm doing nothing but continuing our tribute to Val Kilmer in my Just About Outside this week. I didn't really have anything to say about him other than just the man was a
Wow.
phenomenal performer. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
putting together such a brilliant body of work. His movies have meant a ton to Mike and I. I absolutely I remember many years ago in high school, I took a speech class where the professor asked us to write a speech about our favorite movies or whatever. And you could rank them. And the more you did, kind of the more points you got. So I did 100 movies. But I remember that in my top 5 were both of Real Genius and Tombstone. And that's entirely because of Val Kilmer. And so, I think you're talking about a guy who, it's weird because the world sort of acknowledged his passing and talked about how great of an actor he was. But you're talking about a guy who, in my mind, should have been lauded a lot more even during his working life. He was often tarred with a reputation as difficult to work with and stuff like that. But tell me that Doc Holliday in Tombstone doesn't deserve an Oscar nomination. I mean, come on. That's just an amazing performance.
Fantastic.
Amazing performance.
It defines it. Whenever you get a person like that and you think, when you picture someone like, if I mention, Doc Holliday, you see Val Kilmer in your head. That's
brain.
how good he was. And it's not like other people haven't played that character before. You see Val Kilmer, you hear those lines. He just the type of performer, and he did it in so many different roles. They were never the same. He was so good at everything.
Yeah. And I know he's a big time movie star at the peak of his powers and played in a lot of big budget stuff, or even stuff where he was the leading person. But I always loved him in those roles where he was not the leading person, and he got to be a side character or something like that who could steal scenes from the heavy hitters or the leads in those moments because he was that good, or where the character gave him some weird idiosyncratic thing. Like Doc Holliday feels like a very three-dimensional character in that movie because of the way he played it, right? Because of how the decisions that he made in that movie. The same is true for other amazing characters he plays, like Chris Knight in Real Genius, or
and people
Jim Morrison in The Doors.
In Top Gun. I'm not a huge fan of the movie Top Gun, but of course people remember him in it because he's good.
Because he's that captivating. He is that good. And so, or John Holmes in Wonderland, if you've never seen that movie, it's a very sad but also tremendous performance. And so, yeah, I'm just saying it's amazing that we got to have a great artist like him, and I'm so glad that we did. But it is sad to see that he has moved on. So, yeah. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go watch Real Genius and then Tombstone, about like a little double feature, just real quick. That should only take 6 hours or so. We will be back again next week. Make sure you're subscribing to the Royals Weekly Substack because we'll be out with an episode on Thursday, and then Mike will be out with one on Friday. And so make sure you're doing that. But we'll be back again next week with our regular Monday episode as well. Until then, be good to each other.
And go Royals.